Hello everyone, and welcome to a replay review. I think it's been probably 5 seasons since I've done one of these, but I felt like this game was worth recording and offering some commentary on. So today it is the 13th of August. So this is Season 10, and this is an Arena 0-point match. So this is Open League with 0 points. I have not played a ranked game since they reset the point structure. So this is basically anything goes. Anyone can be in these lobbies. It's been a few weeks since Open, I guess, for Season 10 came out. I'm not sure if it's by season or if it's just when it reset and the points got updated. But regardless, these players should have basically 0 points all the way up to about 500 points. So they should be pretty inexperienced, let's say. So we start off, we spawn at the block. We're just going to loot. I'm going to skip past some of this. It's not really necessary to see it. The only important thing is that we acknowledge the pile of bricks over here, located in this area in the top left of the block, so I guess northwest. That cave is so plentiful with brick, it needs to be resolved. It's just absurdly overpowered. If you bring a mech there, you can straight up farm 1,000 mats with a single stomp. It is absurd. I mean, this is arena, so it only caps at 500. So our options here on this vending machine are the combat shotgun, currently the best shotgun in the game, the RPG, and the slurp. So we have 3 very strong items, epic tier. So this was very lucky, very fortunate for us. But as we'll see throughout this replay, it's not really luck that wins us this game. It's really more just Epic's meta. So we kind of force the hand of the game. So throughout the course of the game, there's been major balance patches. There's been, items that have been put in, guided missile, planes, that have really frustrated people and have kind of destroyed the meta that players want to exist. So I think in general, the competitive scene has fought for a high aggression, high level of skill, build-focused meta, right? Because it distinguishes this game from other battle royales, keeps things interesting, and isn't too favorable for new players, right? They kind of have to work their way up. But as we'll see, Epic has put in the new mech, the B.R.U.T.E, and the mech has the ability to kind of undermine that meta, just like a plane or just like an Infinity Blade. So we're going to hit some nice shots onto this stationary player. It's really not an incredible play. So here we're going to jump and then boost upwards, and then because we're calculating our fall, we just land right on top of him, place the floor and a ramp. Now we're sitting here, we're going for the edit. So fortunately, he played into my play, which was kind of interesting. So my expectation was that he was going to sit there so that I could open it up and rocket launcher him. So the rocket launcher pullout was actually prior to when I saw him come out, and then when I saw him move off to the left, I just fired it. Worst case scenario, I would have taken about 100 damage. So I would have survived. Best case scenario, I one-shot him just like that. So already we're on our way. I think at the end of this game, I had 5 launch pads, probably about 8 campfires, and I don't even know how many traps, maybe 10. So what we're starting to see is, because of the destruction of vehicles, right? So there's no planes, I don't think there's ATVs anymore, ballers are gone. The little movements that's left has so much value. So you saw that we got this driftboard, we brought it over to Pleasant, right? We rotated from the block with the bountiful mats, and now what we're actually doing, if I bring up the minimap here, is we are looking for a B.R.U.T.E located about in this area. So right northwest of Pressure Plant, on my map in-game I can see a B.R.U.T E, and what we're trying to do is collect that B.R.U.T E. Initially, my goal was not to just spam the B.R.U.T E the whole game and win. My goal was to use it to farm mats, because I hate farming mats, and then kind of abandon it. But it turned out that nobody was really pressuring it for the first 20 minutes of the game, so I just kind of kept using it, and it became a really good showcase of why B.R.U.T.Es have no place in ranked matches, and in my opinion, in just public matches in general. I think in Team Rumble, they're fine, because the respawns offer you the opportunity to land on top of it and self-destruct it. I think the self-destruct button is the only thing that saves the mech from completely destroying the meta, because if you can get close enough, which is very difficult, you can destroy a mech. So we're going to move up over here. We're already capped on brick, pretty much. I'm just going to stomp through these because I'm trying to test the mechanics a little bit. I don't have too much experience with brutes, so we're going to skip a bit of this here. The important thing is this thing can climb. With the combination of the jump and the boost, you can really scale vertical surfaces as long as they're not taller than about 4 tiles before there's a ledge for you to land on, which is just absurd. That really allows you to use this as a mobility item, even though it seems fairly slow, just because it's offering you protection. So as we move around this hill here, what we're looking for is picks. So we see this circle, right? We control the highest point in circle, so we can already see the purple players within our view range. And all we're trying to do is dominate the playing area. So all of this area down here doesn't really matter because we know that they have to climb up to us and we can always jump down. Mechs seem to be very, very strong for jumping down inclines because you can boost farther, which extends your effective range. Really the only counter to brutes is like super long range. So the guys over here, you saw them in that little window, super long range shots by something that can offer 1,000 damage before you can break in the distance. So as you saw, I just jumped off the cliff and moved in. I can see him under those stairs. So we're just going to unleash a volley of rockets, and that's a kill. So I believe that's our 3rd kill of the game so far. So we got 2 regular kills. We got one with the rocket launcher, because explosives have always been a strong part of the meta, and we got lucky with that RNG. We got 1 kill because the other player was negligent, and he didn't protect himself. And now we're getting our 3rd kill with the mech. So as the game continues, we're going to see that the game is going to balance out. So we have a player out in the open here. We're going to switch right back into the gunning mode, load up the rockets, and we're going to start trying to hit him. So what's interesting here is we hit him for 100 damage, and then he seems to dip below this mountain, and I actually don't know where he went. So we're seeing him rotate down the mountain here, and I was completely clueless. I had no concept of where this guy was, so I started to rotate around, and you'll see that I just completely missed the mark. He's all the way down here, and I'm wandering, wasting my time thinking that he was flanking me, but I guess he pulled out, which was a smart decision for him. So let me see. I don't know if I have his name, but I guess it doesn't matter. But we'll have to see what comes of him later, if we can remember his skin. Okay, so over here, there's just a guy, doing some trick shots and a drift board, so we're just going to shoot him out of the air. We're going to protect our backside. And we're just going to keep taking pot shots. I'm really confident here that he's not going to hit me. And we just clean him up. We don't even go for the loot at this point. So we're extremely stacked. We have 6 minis. I think 2 launch pads. We already have a Scar. Combat shotgun, I believe, is blue. And we have the rocket launcher. Oh, and we have cluster grenades? Whatever the launching ones are. I've been gone for a season, so I don't remember. So right here, this is just absurd. I don't understand why the mech can stand on top of trees, or why the range is this far, but we're just going to load up the rockets and 3rd party this fight. We're just going to instantly kill him. And at this point, we're just asserting our dominance, making sure that nobody's kind of camping under him, because it's always possible that in these big fights, there are more people involved in the fight who kind of hit off in the side. So as we move forwards here, we're going to skip a little bit. Nothing really important happens. I just kind of jump off the hill, and I'm moving towards the leading edge of the zone because I'm starting to get aggressive. So this is kind of the result of the confidence that comes with the mech, and part of the problem with the mech is oftentimes Epic will put in items that combat unhealthy aggression, right? So their idea of unhealthy aggression is pretty much making moves onto other players without excessive quantities of building or without extreme amounts of skill. They really want you to just camp in your 1x1. But they've kind of switched things up with the Brute, because the Brute really rewards people for minimal skill. As you can see here, this player has no idea what he's doing. I'm just testing out stomp mechanics because he is completely clueless. It's rewarding players for being absurdly aggressive. So every single player, regardless of the distance, regardless of their loot, their skill level, you'll see I just immediately go to push them. And even farther than that, I'm trying to make use of these rockets because you can continue to kind of guide them as they come out of your gun. I'm trying to make use of them to reveal new players from cover because I know that this is a low tier lobby and that there is an opportunity to gain points. So, while I do understand the opinion that, like, using a mech in this low tier of a lobby is kind of a rude move or something that's not really acceptable, it's not a fair playing field, at the same time, you have to recognize that I cannot play Arena at a high level until I just exit these lobbies, so the faster that I can leave them, essentially the better for these people, so that this won't happen. So this man, same thing. I was hoping to pick up a 2-piece here, but I unfortunately was not fast enough. I probably should have only fired about 4 rockets and it would have done the job, but I loaded up the full 9. So as you can see by this bunch of trees, there's another player. We're just going to jump and boost, same process, and we're actually going to climb up on the tree here, try and get a vantage point. And it's just part of what makes this B.R.U.T.E absurd, is one of the only weaknesses is the range at which this guy is hitting me. So as you can see, it's about the full circle. I believe this is 4th circle. And that's just about enough distance for me to not feel confident setting out in the open, loading up rockets. But the problem is, if there's tree cover, which there is plenty of inside a volcano, I can really just make use of those trees and defend myself. So we're going to ignore him, the cliff face is going to protect us, and we're going to move forward and spam this player. So he's lost 150 health here. He's going to build up a little, so as you can see, he's hitting the bubble, but it does not matter. We have 1,000 health, you know, Ballers I think had 300 when they came out, and it really does not matter. I need to get a little bit better if I want to abuse this meta at managing how many rockets I fire, so that I don't fire excessive rockets. But besides that, it really does not matter. This player, I didn't even know where he was. In the span of the rockets being fired, he was revealed, and then I aimed at him, and he died. It was all one fluid movement, but I had no concept that he was down there on the left. So, part of the reason why I don't feel particularly bad for doing this is because I'm trying to get out of these lobbies, but the other part is that the only real way for changes to be made to the meta for Epic to really listen is for low tier players in high quantities to voice their concerns and opinions, right? Because they offer the market share, they're the ones who buy skins, right? It's not the players who are sitting in creative, you know, grinding for 58 hours a day doing 90s, who are really padding the wallets. It's the casual players, you know, who work a full-time job, who have an income, and then at the end of the day they come home, they see the new fish skin or the new summer drift, and they pick it up real fast. So this is really a showcase for people who have maybe been away from Fortnite for a while or have been considering it, really to just understand what you're coming back to if you decide to come back. So I left for Season 9 due to changes to the overtime system. I didn't do the Battle Pass, so I really had no reason to play. But I would have really enjoyed it, I just kind of ran out of time and lost interest. But I'm back for Season 10, hopefully gonna do the full Battle Pass, all the XP, stuff like that. So we will have to see if I can make it with the brutes in the game. Fortunately, this game, I was the only brute, and it really wasn't my choice to leave it behind there. I probably could have kept abusing it, but I didn't want to risk it, considering I still had a rocket launcher, and I had 1,500 mats, 6 minis, the 2 shockwave grenades, at this point 5 launch pads, 11 traps, 8 campfires. I have so much loot from looting every single person in the lobby that I've come across. I have 9 kills, and at this point all we're going to do for the rest of the match is play poorly, camp, and abuse the fact that we've basically launch padded to center zone for free. And we still have 4 launch pads. So regardless of where the zone goes, especially because this is an area with high elevation, we're just going to top ourselves off. We're going to sit here and we're going to wait for players to make mistakes. So at this static point, all we're doing is we're looking for picks, we're looking for holes in things that they've built so that we can just shoot a rocket through and get this over easy. I'm not looking to make this a high skill play, as at this point I don't have my Season 10 umbrella, and I just wanted to get it done so that I can sit in Team Rumble or sit in casual lobbies and just kind of push everybody and farm XP. I really did not have an interest in having the weight of trying to get this umbrella on me, because even though I did not really play in Season 9, even though I didn't get the Battle Pass, I do have the Umbrella. So it's important to me that I kept getting them. I've gotten them every season since Season 2. So over here, we've got one player under us on that metal structure right here. And we have one player in the back here behind this bunker. So the player over here is going to make an interesting play. He's going to move towards the airdrop, which is actually a good move in my opinion, because as you saw right there, there was a little purple, and I believe that was a launch pad. His mistake was that he didn't use the launch pad. So the problem is when you have somebody this high ground, with a rocket launcher, with full mats, with a scar, with all of this loot, who's been abusing mechs the entire game, you cannot try and rotate for free into zone. You really need to set yourself up with a vantage point and then punish when I rotate. But unfortunately he did not make that decision, so he's going to sit here out in the open. He's going to fire a proximity grenade. It's going to bounce right off and go right out of zone. So what he's looking for here is a pick, and he's kind of wasting his time outside of zone trying to pick it up. He's doing a decent job covering himself up until this point. What he needs to be doing is placing a sidewall and then putting floors above himself. So now he starts to tarp in a little bit more comfortably. He's got 2 layers up on top. His mistake here is just that he didn't continue to double ramp right here. He goes for a 90 turn and we just hit him with the shotgun. So here we're just going to continue his 90 turn. We're going to tarp up to mid ground, which I guess is high ground because there's only 2 players. We're going to rocket launcher pull out the shotgun and finish off the game. So while this game wasn't particularly exciting, it wasn't particularly difficult, I think it does showcase what Epic has in store for Season 10. All I can say is, I hope that they go the way that they did with the skins for the Battle Pass, and they start bringing back other items that might offer counters to brutes. So I would love to see planes come back to the game, see how those interact with brutes. I would love to see maybe turrets come back, because at this point, the meta is already ruined. We may as well find something to counter it, even if it comes at the expense of the competitive scene. Alternatively, you could just remove these from arena and remove these from casual lobbies, make a nice little LTM, just like the aerial assault, or whatever the plane one was, just like that, and let people duke it out and have a good time with the robot that you've created. I hope you've enjoyed. This is probably going to be the only replay review of Season 10, but if you want more, let me know, and I will try and do that for you. Alright, that's it. Thank you, and take care.